It's late. I'm about to sit down and draw some new chapter artwork for Tiger and the Viper, chapter 10, and I thought I'd invite you along with me as I do that. So let's go. Thank you for joining on. So now we are going to go through the motions of finding some references for the new chapter cover for chapter 10 of Tiger and Viper. And we're going to find some references. We're going to see some poses on Pinterest and other stuff that we like. Stuff that has a good composition, stuff that has dynamic lighting, because most of the time what I do for Tiger and the Viper chapter covers, because there is an interest of time, what I will usually do is something along the lines of, let's take a quick look here, let's find a chapter cover. Here's chapter 9 for molding, and you'll see in our quick iPad view here in Procreate, this is what it looks like for the most part. So it'll kind of be like a manga chapter cover, where it'll have value and lights and darks and a sense of lighting and light source. But for the most part, we're using screen tones and kind of deep well blacks to get the lighting across, and grays, various values of grays. So for that to come across really cleanly and in a compelling way where it doesn't get washed out, this has sort of been like my challenge recently, to create something with different values of gray and black and white, where it doesn't look washed out and still looks like it peels off the page, just like our favorite manga chapter covers. Some of my references that come to mind that are really good at doing that, even when it comes to black and white and values of gray, is Tite Kubo. Tite Kubo always really had a great sense of composition and lighting in a lot of his particular chapter covers, and in the like additional art he would do for the manga for Bleach. And I think it's because he really had a love, just like the creator of JoJo's Circus. He really loved JoJo's Circus. I don't know why I consistently call it that. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And somewhere deeply lodged in my brain is a core memory of a deep misunderstanding of what that manga was called. So the creator of JoJo's and the creator of Bleach, Tite Kubo, really have a great sense of composition that I believe most likely comes from, amongst other things, a love for editorial photography, especially fashion editorial photography, magazine photography. I really love stuff like that as well. I love the way that a lot of these photographers find ways to make their subjects very, very compelling and look larger than life on screen, in many, many different atmospheres and feelings. So I really like that. I kind of want to bring that to my own chapter artwork as well. I really want you to kind of see a piece of chapter artwork and go, who are these characters? What are they doing? Why do they look so fancy? What is this composition? Why is it so fun? So yeah, I definitely want to bring that visual interest to the beginning of the chapter, because it's kind of the first thing you get to see before you dip into the chapter itself. So I've been working on that recently. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to head back here, and we're going to head back to our browser here, and we're just going to look for a couple of different references that we will kind of use to springboard our composition off of. We kind of just want a good idea of where our focal point should be, where our subjects are located on the composition, and what does the lighting look like, and how do we recreate that in our own composition in a way that looks really good in the style that we're doing it in. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take a look at some maybe photography, maybe some editorial portraits of characters that are alone on the composition by themselves in the center of the composition, hopefully, with a lot of really dramatic high whites and dark blacks, very dramatic lighting, that kind of cuts a fine figure of the central subject of the portrait. And I'm hoping that they're, something along the lines of like they look like they're standing in the center of a stage almost. The lighting is supposed to be referential of what it looks like to be in backstage, to look at it at like a lone actor out on the stage in front of you, facing the lighting of the theater and the audience. But instead of standing in front of a theater audience, I really want to depict Sunny, our main character for Tiger and the Viper, who is a performer and an idol. I would really love to depict her in that kind of composition that I just described, but I want her to be behind a pane of glass, because the chapter title for chapter 10 is Aquarium Glass, and it's supposed to represent essentially this idol, this entertainer who is trapped behind the social contract of being a piece of entertainment, a piece of content at all times for the general masses to consume and enjoy without thinking about the toll it takes on the entertainer. So yeah, and how they're kind of like a zoo animal of sorts for human beings to kind of stop by and look at how this person is living and make judgments and make suppositions about this person, because they have seeming being the key word here, 24-hour access to this person's life, and is that healthy? So yeah, I just wanted to make a composition that sort of depicted that, and we're going to take a look to see if we can find some similar things on Pinterest that can springboard our composition now. So let's take a look. You're going to be able to see my screen here on my iPad as I look for those compositions here, and you're just going to see me here at my desk with my cute little candle that was gifted to me by a coworker, who wanted to wish me well on writing Tiger and the Viper. Thank you very much, Mel. And also, you should check out Mel's streams when she streams on Twitch. I will link her so you can go ahead and follow her and make sure to support her as she starts her crocheting small business with her twin sister. I'll make sure to link that later in the video description. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick look as you're falling asleep or you're settling down into drawing yourself or relaxing and enjoying some artwork and, process videos. Let's go ahead and relax together and take a quick look to see how we can get this image started. Go back to some of our saved pins here. And we did end up saving some particular pins that would really help us with this composition, so we're going to go through some of these. I really like something like this, so this is kind of what I was describing. I really like the idea of seeing the idol from behind. We get to see some of the area in front. And for the area in front, I'm going to be doing something along the lines of putting a lot of people with telephones recording, and paparazzos with cameras, things like that, drones, to make it kind of cyberpunky. But this is going to be the general composition. I actually really like this, I don't know if you can see it, but, and I'm kind of annoyed, there we go, by Pinterest, but I really like the shadow here. I think the shadow right in this area here is really pleasing to the eye, kind of draws you to the idol. So I might end up using this composition here, frankly, because I do like what it looks like, but we will end up replacing this whole area here with that pane of glass to kind of make her look like she is in an aquarium, and then we're going to put our paparazzos behind that pane of glass. So what we will do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can save this image, because I do want to use it as kind of a starting point here. I'm also going to have to make sure that Pinterest behaves. It doesn't look like it wants to, so we're going to restart it. Luckily, we do have that image saved here. There we go. So what's good too is that we get a general good idea of the lighting. I might have to recreate this at some point. Oh, we've done it again. Oh no. There we go. Close. Oh, goodness gracious. Pinterest. Being persnickety on the iPad. There we go. Here's our reference photo here. What I'm going to go ahead and do, oh, this is Madison Beer. Of course it is. I'm going to download the image. We're going to use it as a reference. We're going to do a couple of things here. First, we're going to download that image. Okay, I think it did go ahead and download. We're going to check. Yeah, it definitely did. Okay. So I'm just going to download this first one here. Actually, what we will do is we will make a copy. So our first one, we're going to bring into Procreate. We're just going to create a little reference photo. And we're going to import the photo in here. So we're going to study some of the information and just break down this particular composition now. So let's go back to something that looks like a pencil, or is good enough. Okay, we'll take a micron. That works. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume right here is our perspective line, or maybe we'll go even further back here. We're going to assume or make the judgment that we'll say our aquarium glass is about here. We'll erase some of this here. Okay. So I'm going to erase this just to make room for her here. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drop the opacity for Madison here. And I want to actually study some of the shapes here within Madison's body, because we know the rest of this is just going to be a flat plane. We're going to create some visual illusions to make it look like there is going to be a glass thickness difference between our character Sunny here, which is going to be the main focus of the image, and the paparazzos and the other folks behind the glass. But first, we're going to focus on the subject here, which is going to be Sunny, because we need to figure out whether she's going to look okay on her own in the composition when it's not a photograph versus the photograph itself. So first, we're going to break down some shapes as well. Here's her hair, or not her hair, but her head. Here are her shoulders. We'll just denotate her shoulders here. Here are her hips. Okay. We'll mark out her knees. Okay. And here we really just kind of get just the littlest bit of her feet, but for the most part we are unable to see them from her heels because they are blocking this currently. and that's okay. I'm also just going to go ahead and kind of work out the negative space between her legs. Just going to give a little bit of visual information to myself. We have an arm coming down here. Yeah, I'm just going to bump up the opacity a little bit to see what's going on with Madison's arm here. So what's happening is that it looks like she's using her microphone, and she is lifting the microphone to her face, so you can't see most of it here. But that's okay. Once again, just because we cannot see that information from the front doesn't mean that it hurts our composition later on. So we're just going to clarify a couple of things here, make it easier for ourselves, but just really make some of these shapes make sense. Okay, here's that elbow here, and then we have the neck here. So I'm also going to mark off our shadow. The shadow here also, I love, recreates that negative space between the leg and tells you really a lot of information there. We'll just kind of, okay, there we go. So this is good. What this says to me is that this size still looks good within the composition. I do like that she kind of is small. She's small in the composition. She's in the center, so you do know that she's important. We'll have to be kind of careful about how we place people and things around her. But I do like this current composition. Which is good, because I was going to say, if it doesn't look good in the photograph, it wouldn't have looked good in illustration. I'm glad that that's working out quite nicely. Get rid of this guy here. Oh goodness. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that as a reference. We're now going to go ahead in here. We're going to choose a good canvas size here. Let's do one of these. We'll flip it. And we will pull out a reference now. We do have to go ahead and save that guy, so let me just export him. Doesn't need to be particularly large, it just has to kind of be clear enough. As a reference. There we go. So we're just going to move this guy up here and move us down here. I'm going to make sure we're in here. Perfect. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna bump up our size here. I want to say on a different layer. We'll fix our drawing guide. want to add a little bit more visual interest here. So I think what I might do is I might add a bow. So I'm adding it in a different color so we can kind of get a feeling for it. Give the image some movement as well, without too much of it. Maybe we'll give her some fun sleeves. I do like tie sleeves. Don't know if I love that. I have an idea. Let's see. There we go. Yes, something like this. Yes, perfect. Something like this. It is getting late for real now, and I think it'll be time to sign off in a bit, but I think I'll draw for just a little bit more, just to kind of break out some of this space, really feel like we're making it feel like a compelling composition. I want to take up some good space with some of her skirt without feeling like it's taking up too much area in the composition here. And just make the whole thing feel kind of flowy in general. Like it could be underwater, or it could be under a lot of airflow, or just something dreamy and floaty. Some boots. I am sort of going back and forth between how much I want this to look like it's underwater and be a surreal composition versus more grounded and kind of melancholy, because I do kind of want to build off of some aquarium underwater elements and give it that sort of form of weightlessness. But I also don't know if that's going to take away, if the movement is going to take away and give you kind of a different feeling than her being static rather than moved by this like kind of unseen ocean or unseen water or current or wind. And I don't know if I like how much of the composition space her hair takes up when it is kind of volumized by that kind of effect. But I also don't like it just laying straight down her back. I'm kind of struggling to know what I want to do here. Which means that I might have to follow this line that I've already set up by the skirt. It does look better when I do that. I just feel like her body's a little lost in the composition when we do that. So I want to stay mindful of that. Kind of, we do want her to look a little bit dainty, but also lost in the composition. Yeah, so we'll follow some of those lines. Just so we don't lose that information. But I do feel like the hair is taking away a little bit from kind of the a little bit of the vibe, a little bit of the solitude, the loneliness of the piece. It's giving her a little bit too much ethereal and not enough lonely, and we do want to fix that. Maybe we'll have it kind of limply floating around her. It does have her kind of cover up her arms, and we don't see what's going on here. We lose that info, so she kind of looks armless. So I don't know. This could be an interesting one. This will take a little bit of problem solving. Let's come back to our initial sketch. We'll give her a little bit of hair on the top. We do want to keep that top there, but let's see. I'm going to go back to my reference. With our reference, the hair is very sleek, so we're going to try to recreate some of that sleekness on the layer here for that sketch. Looks like we have a really pretty kind of cascade effect coming off the shoulder. I do really like that. You know what? Less is more. I do like that movement. And we still get to retain the visibility on the arms, which is the important part for me. I don't like this arm here, but we can always fix it. We need a little bit more of a shoulder peak, and it goes straight down to the elbow. Keep that bend, that cascade here. I'm going to try to even it out though, so it feels even within the portraiture. going to come back to our clothing. I do want some more visual interest here, so I'm going to take away some of that information on the boots. I'm going to do something along the lines of a little bit more loose sock, leg warmer moment here. Maybe we'll give her some garters, but I do want maybe some lace loose sock ruffle action. That would look good, and it would balance out some of the composition here because her legs look a little thin towards the end, and then maybe some heel. I'll have to think about it. Change the shape of the shadow here, make it slightly more tilted because of the light source. We're going to fix that based on the reference there. Okay, that's looking a bit stronger. I do want to fix this. It's better. We will have a little bit of the stage runoff do this. I'll have to take a look at that. You know what? Since it is technically where the glass meets the floor, we'll have to leave it as a straight perspective line. It's okay. We will fix later. I think if that's the case, we'll have to do something along the lines of taking it into the room. Okay. So as of right now, this is what we have so far. It is a very, very, very rough sketch, but we've done our research. We've taken a look at what we want to see in terms of the lighting and the composition and the general vibe of the image itself. So we're going to come back in part 2, another late night, maybe ASMR draw with me video in a little bit after we get a little bit more inspiration on how we're going to complete this piece here. Probably going to be coming out towards the end of this month or the beginning of next month, just because we are also going to be releasing the chapter itself, chapter 10, so this will be done by then. and then we might release a chapter prior to releasing the artwork. Draw with me. We'll see. We'll see how we get along with this overall composition, and when I end up getting time to collect this footage. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for jumping on and doing a little late night doodle with me. This was a lot of fun. Come back and join me again next time soon. Have a great night and sleep well.